Welcome to the Economic Forum debate. Thank you, Mr. Keynes and Mr. Friedman, for joining our Economic Forum discussion to debate and examine a few economic issues. I would like to start off by asking what your opinions are in terms of addressing the issue of unemployment and low consumer consumption, as we know both are ultimately connected in different ways. Mr. Keynes, I will let you start off the deliberations on this matter.
Thank you. I believe the single most effective measure to combat the issue of unemployment is by using active government policy to manage aggregate demand in order to address or prevent economic recessions. Government intervention needs to be in place in order to bring economic recovery during times of recession or high unemployment and low consumer consumption. Natural economic force and incentives are usually not sufficient to help an economy recover in times of recession, depression, and high unemployment. Spending by households, business, and governments is the most important driving force in an economy. Unlike your thinking, Milton, free markets have no self-balancing mechanisms that lead to full employment. We need public policies that aim to achieve full employment and price stability. I believe activist fiscal policies are the primary tool to manage the economy and fight unemployment. Otherwise, inadequate overall demand could lead to prolonged periods of high unemployment. I do not believe a free market automatically provides full employment, that everyone who wants a job would have one as long as workers were flexible in their wage demands.
I disagree with your economic theory and ideas. I believe there is a natural rate of unemployment and that unemployment below this rate will cause inflation to accelerate. I have an alternative macroeconomic viewpoint, as you know, called monetarism. Rather than strong government intervention, as you argue for, we should have a steady, small expansion of the money supply, and our monetary policy, taxation, privatization, and deregulation should be what influences government policies. My theory of consumption function is the relationship between aggregate consumption or aggregate savings and aggregate income. Keynes, you believe that people will modify their household consumption expenses to match their existing income levels. My research has instead found that permanent income, or the average of a household's expected income over several years, will influence consumption. A person's consumption and savings decisions are more impacted by permanent changes to income versus changes that are seen as temporary. Short-term tax increases actually decrease savings and keep consumption levels static. A worker will save only if his or her current income is higher than the anticipated level of permanent income in order to guard against future declines in income. It may not produce a multiplier effect.
You mentioned natural unemployment, but what about structural unemployment, where workers are being displaced from their jobs due to technological advancements and the workers lacking those skills are let go? How would you address that uncertainty? Instead, I believe unemployment is due to the hardcore of virtually unemployable seasonal factors, or people moving between jobs. There is also the lack of skills and the lack of effective demand for labor. To your point on consumption, I do not believe that households would quickly adapt their consumption demand if taxation varies from year to year. People have established standards of life, so reducing taxes will have very limited effect on stimulating their consumption. They can only rely on reduced taxation for a short period of time. It is not a long-term solution. Ultimately, lower consumption is a key factor to unemployment. I think we can both agree on that, but how do you address consumption as an issue that we both differ on?
My view is that monetary policy, or the management of money supply and interest rates, will help unemployment and consumption by controlling inflation and economic growth. We can achieve this by modifying the interest rate, buying or selling government bonds, and regulating foreign exchange rates. Monetary authorities need to look at GDP and inflation, industry sector-specific growth rates, and associated figures. Geopolitical developments in the international markets, like oil embargo or trade tariffs, concerns raised by groups representing industries and businesses, and get inputs from the government. By lowering interest rates, money savings will be unfavorable, and in turn, it should promote consumer spending. This should increase money supply in the market and also boost investment. Low rates mean that businesses and individuals can take loans on better terms to expand productive activities and spend more on expensive consumer goods.
Thank you both for your insights. I believe this has been a very thought-provoking economics debate. Good day, everyone.